Knock, knock. Who's there? That's an old-style joke in English. The knock-knock joke. Well, instead of making a joke today, let's take a look at phrasal verbs and idioms that use the verb knock.
Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
All right, thank you, John, and thanks, everyone. It's Michael here from Happy English, and I help people speak English better. This is Happy English Podcast, episode 802. Knock, knock. Did you know that you can knock back, knock down, knock around, and knock up? You can even knock someone out or tell someone to knock it off. For today's English lesson podcast, you're going to build your vocabulary and sound more natural using knock. Let's get the ball rolling. The verb knock in English basically means to hit or strike something. When you want to enter a house or a room, you can knock on the door. That's where those corny old knock-knock jokes got their start. You can also knock into another person. You know, when you're walking down the street and someone is paying more attention to their phone than where they are walking, they're probably gonna knock into someone. This basic meaning of knock brings us right into our first phrasal verb of the lesson, knock out, or more specifically, knock someone out. In fact, knock someone out has two meanings and uses. The first one comes from boxing. You know, the sport where two people enter the boxing ring and punch each other until one of them can't get up anymore. Whenever that happens, we can say that the champion knocked out his opponent. Legendary boxer Mike Tyson knocked out his rival, Marvis Frazier, in just 30 seconds back in 1986. He knocked him out. But it doesn't take a violent sport or a champion fighter to knock someone out. You can say that physical activity, a difficult exam, or even medicine can knock you out. It could make you end up unconscious, like, I caught a cold this week and the cough medicine from the doctor totally knocked me out. Or something can make you totally exhausted. One of my students took the TOEIC exam a few weeks ago, and she said that experience knocked her out. She was exhausted for the rest of the day. She was knocked out. And speaking of hitting something, when you knock something down, like a building or some other structure, you demolish it. Like, they knocked down an old house on my block and built a new house on the same land. The city decided to knock down an old railroad bridge and turn that area into a park. And you know what eventually happens to those old bookcases from IKEA? You knock them down and put the whole thing in the trash. So, when something knocks you out, you kind of stop what you were doing, right? And when something gets knocked down, it stops being used. With this kind of image, if someone is doing something that bothers you, why not just tell them to knock it off? Knock it off is a set phrase that means stop doing that. And it's a pretty direct way to tell someone to stop doing something. Like, if your kids are arguing about something while you're trying to listen to this podcast, just tell them, hey, knock it off. Or if a coworker is watching YouTube instead of working, you can tell her, yo, why don't you knock it off and get back to work? Knock has some more idiomatic uses too, like you can knock around a place, which means to move around that place without any particular purpose. Like when we were teenagers, we used to spend hours knocking around the mall. One of my friends got himself a backpack and decided to knock around Southeast Asia last summer. Sounds relaxing, doesn't it? Which brings us to another casual phrasal verb, knock back. We use knock back to talk about drinking something quickly and entirely. At the party last weekend, Paul knocked back a few beers with his buddies. You could even say that you knocked back a few glasses of iced tea on a hot day. But to be perfectly honest, we tend to use knock back when we talk about drinking alcohol. And finally, we have knock off, which is a pretty versatile phrasal verb. Knock off means to stop working for the day. I usually knock off around 8 p.m. At the factory, they start work early and knock off at 4 o'clock. Also related to work, you can knock off a task, which means to finish that task. I knocked off 3 podcasts this afternoon. Jack knocked off the monthly report in just an hour. Damn, he's quick. Knock off can also be used to talk about discounting the price of something. When I bought a new desk, they knocked off $50 because there was a scratch in the wood on the side of the desk. At the auto shop, the mechanic told me that he could knock off $100 if I paid in cash. What a nice guy! Keep in mind, the best way to remember English like this, and any other phrase or word in English, is to take that phrase or word, write it in a sentence that's true for you or true in your world, and then memorize your sentences. Did you know you can get more practice using your English when you join my Podcast Learners Study Group? There, you can make new friends. Join us for live group lessons every week where we practice these podcast lessons together. Plus, you get access to the PDF transcript and audio download for every Happy English podcast in the past and in the future. And on top of that, each episode has exercises where you can practice this English point with speaking and writing checked by me. To learn more, just visit myhappyenglish.com and choose podcast lesson 802. Remember, learning another language is not easy, but it's not impossible, and I'm here to help you on your journey.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English, get happy, Happy English.